Hello again, everybody. Welcome to Gamecock Central Radio. Emerson Phillips with Gamecock great Joe Rhett to talk men's basketball today. South Carolina, a 67-56 winner over Ole Miss Saturday at the Colonial Life Arena, and the Gamecocks are now 14-3 overall, 4-0 in SEC play, and the Gamecocks are off to their best start in conference play since 1997, just the second time since the Gamecocks joined the SEC that Carolina men are off to a 4-0 start in SEC play. Joe, we knew that Ole Miss was coming in shorthanded. DeAndre Burnett, their top scorer, was out, about 19 a game for Burnett, and Ole Miss looked a little bit out of sorts. They turned it over 14 times in the first half Saturday.
Well, regardless of who you play against, when we play against this tough Gamecock defensive team, they're going to make it uncomfortable for you, and I was glad to see that this team came out with the fire and the energy, even though they was down their leading scorer who averaged about 18, 19 points. So I'm glad to see this team come out and handle business in front of a nice home crowd on Saturday.
Joe, the Gamecocks did not shoot it well, about 30% field goal percentage for the ball game, but still won this game pretty comfortably. So that's a good sign when you don't play your best, but you're still able to win.
That is a good omen. You see this team, we always talk about Senderis and PJ, but you saw the emergence of a guy that I really like inside. That's Chris Silver. He had a tremendous game. When you get a guy that can score, inside, which is a high percentage shot. Anytime you can get a guy like that and get some interior basket, that takes a lot of pressure off the guards. I think he finished with 16 points and 11 rebounds. And it's good to see, to give these Gamecocks a chance to win, you want Chris Silver and PJ to not be in foul trouble. And when those two guys are not in foul trouble, this is a different team. And, we have a better chance when those guys are not, fouling. So it's good to see both of those guys get back involved, and hopefully they can continue to play, good defense without fouling.
Second career double-double for Gamecock sophomore forward Chris Silva, 16 points and 11 rebounds in 28 minutes of action. He was 5 of 11 from the floor and 6 of 7 at the line. 16 points as well for Gamecock sophomore P.J. Dozier. Dozier shot 4 of 9. He was 7 of 10 from the foul line. P.J. played 27 minutes on Saturday. The Gamecocks got 12 points from Rakim Felder. Felder 2 for 5 from 3 and 4 for 4 at the foul line. Joe, we saw the range of Felder, and this is a player that I'm liking more and more as the season goes on. He hit a couple of deep threes on Saturday.
That's what that kid does, It's one of those times when you see a guy come down and I see the way he's setting up, dribbling down the court, that he's about to launch it, and I know Frank B over there, good shot. That's one of the times, once he makes it, this guy has a lot of confidence. He has a little swagger about himself, and he's the guy that can help this team along the way because, PJ and Senderis and Dwayne others, they're not going to be on every game. And to have a guy, especially a freshman, come in with that type of confidence and being an integral part of this team right now is huge, not to mention with this big schedule we got coming up this week. We'd love to see this guy continue. And on the flip side of that, he will be a part of the scouting report now. I know a lot of people don't know who he is, but I guess, down the way, he's going to be a part of the opposing team scouting report now. They're going to have their eyes on him, and they're going to try to take away some of the things that he liked to do. So will it be as easy coming up these next couple of games? I doubt it, but he still has the confidence and the range to get that shot off sometime.
The Gamecocks got 10 points from Sendarius Thornwell in 32 minutes of action, 10 points, 8 boards for Thornwell. And it was 7 points for Dwayne Notice and 6 for Mike Kotsar. So 6 players scored for the Gamecocks on Saturday, and the Gamecocks a 67-56 winner over Ole Miss. South Carolina 14-3 and 4-0, and Ole Miss drops to 10-7 and 1-4 in the SEC. So, Joe, that sets the stage for this week's huge couple of games for South Carolina. There are 3 unbeaten teams in the SEC right now. Kentucky and Florida are 5-0 in the league. South Carolina's 4-0. The Gamecocks will host Florida on Wednesday night this week. We've got a 6:30 tip at the Colonial Life Arena for the Gamecocks and the Gators. Florida was ranked number 23 in the country in the AP poll last week. New rankings will come out today. They figure to jump up in the AP poll this week. Florida's won 7 straight. And they beat Georgia this weekend, Joe, an overtime win for the Gators, a game that Georgia really was in position to win, but they just couldn't close the deal. And how about that Florida bench, Joe? 51 points for the Florida bench in their win over Georgia on Saturday, and that's the most by an SEC team this year, 51 bench points.
Yeah, they had big production off the bench on Saturday. I think so. I can't remember the kid's name. I know one kid came off the bench and hit like 5 threes. He is a shooter, but he came in and contributed really well for this team. But Georgia we discussed this earlier before we played them. Georgia's a team that will always play you tough, and they always have a chance to win. Coach Rich over there, he's a really good coach over there, and he has a lot of talent. He got some good possible NBA player over there. Mateen, he has been one of the top players in the SEC so far. But I look back at Florida losses. They're 14-3, and they had some tough losses. They lost to a highly ranked Gonzaga team.
Yep.
They lost to Duke, and they lost to Florida State, who's also in the top 10 right now. So this is a very, very tough team, and the Gamecocks will have their hands full. What's good that they'll be coming here to the Colonial Life Arena on Wednesday night. So I expect us to, have a good chance to win. We will have a chance to win because of our defense, and hopefully get our guys clicking on all cylinders offensively. And will they be hot? Yes. I hate to say it, but, as a former player, you see, you don't want to look at those schedule ahead of time. You want to take each game one at a time, but you want to, when the Floridas, when the Kentucky games come up, you circle those in your mind, and you get a little extra, motivation. It's just because you're human, and I know these guys will be very excited to play in hopefully a very hostile crowd here in Columbia on Wednesday night, and hopefully we can pull this one out.
Georgia had a 5-point lead over Florida with 3:51 left when Yante Maton, the big man for Georgia, fouled out. And Georgia ended up falling in overtime to Florida in Gainesville on Saturday, 80-76, the final in that one, in that overtime ball game. And the player you were talking about, Joe, is Kenyon Berry. 27 points off the bench for Florida, 5 of 8 from 3 for Berry. He had 2 4-point plays in the ball game, and he shoots his foul shots underhanded. I thought that was interesting, Joe. So Berry with 27 off the bench. Florida's bench outscored Georgia's bench 51-5, and Georgia has now lost 14 straight games in Gainesville. Keith Stone had a career-high 17 points for the Gators. And I thought it was also interesting, Joe, that Florida was not real pleased with the way they played in the first half, and their head coach kept them out on the floor at halftime. They practiced defense at halftime in a Georgia game on Saturday.
That is something you never really, really see, and I guess he was really upset with the team, the way his team was playing defense. And to correct that, he brought those guys back, kept them out there during halftime to, I guess, just to make a point, let them guys know that, hey, we practiced this, we executed this all week, and you guys come out and play lackadaisical and not playing towards the game plan. And I guess he just had to go out there and reiterate his defensive scheme.
Joe, in all the years you played ball, did your coach ever keep you out on the floor at halftime and practice defense during the halftime break?
No, but I tell you, I wish we could have stayed out on the half court, and instead of going back and get some of those chewing out lessons during halftime. But never had that done. But it was just very unique and very interesting to see that.
All right, marquee matchup coming up Wednesday night at the Colonial Life Arena. Again, a 6:30 tip for the Gamecocks and Gators. Kayvon Allen is the leading scorer for Florida at 14 points a ball game. But, again, they're a very deep ball club, and they've won 7 straight coming into the CLA on Wednesday night. Florida's SEC wins at Arkansas, home wins over Mississippi and Tennessee. They won at Bama, and then they beat Georgia at home on Saturday. So we're ready to go for the Gamecocks and Gators Wednesday night. After Wednesday, Joe, the Gamecocks play at Kentucky in a 6 o'clock tip on Saturday, and Kentucky's 15-2. They're 5-0 in the league, and they're ranked number 6 in the nation in the AP poll. That was last week's poll. Kentucky could move up when the new poll comes out today as well. Kentucky will play tomorrow night at Mississippi State. So we got 3 unbeaten teams in the SEC right now, Joe, and the Gamecocks face both of them this week.
Yes, again, another tough week. Hopefully, when the polls come, I think we may get a chance to slide back in the top 25. If not, we take one game at a time, and just need to handle our business this week. Take Florida coming in here and then going to the historical Rupp Arena. I tell you, I was just giving me flashbacks. It was just a pleasure to go there back in the days and just to see all the history, all the great players, all the great championships. It's easy to get caught up once you get there, but I'm quite sure with the experience of Coach Martin, he'll have these guys toned he'll have those guys ready to handle business on Saturday.
Yeah, the Gamecocks just outside of last week's top 25, receiving the second most votes of all the teams outside of the top 25, and Carolina could jump into the AP top 25 when the new polls come out today. And, Joe, certainly worth pointing out that South Carolina right now is the only Power 5 school in the country with both men's and women's teams unbeaten in conference play. Gamecock women are 5-0 in the SEC. Gamecock men are 4-0. And Carolina's the only school in the nation right now with the men's and women's teams unbeaten in the league play.
Oh, that's awesome. Give a shout out to Coach Staley and Coach Martin for they believing in this team and they saw what they had and they saw a vision and it's starting to come true. And this was meant to see the girls do so well, and the men are also doing well. And this good for Gamecock Nation. It was tough football season, but now hey, we're in basketball season right now, and hopefully we can do some good things this postseason. Hopefully we continue to win, that both teams can make a run in NCAA tournament.
All right, that's the goal for the Gamecocks here in 2017. The Gamecocks are 11-0 with Cindarius Thornwell in the lineup, and South Carolina with a chance to really make a push for the NCAA tournament with two huge games this week. Home Wednesday night against Florida, and then at Kentucky on Saturday. And we'll come back on Friday to preview the Kentucky game for you. Joe, great talking hoops with you. We appreciate your time.
No problem. Have a good one.
All right, that's my man Joe Rhett, the Gamecock great, and I'm Emerson Phillips. We'll come back on Friday. We'll have more Gamecock basketball talk for you right here on Gamecock Central Radio.